All right. So, unlike Paul's letters, like what we just read in 2 Corinthians, this portion of Scripture is historical narrative. We're reading stories, and it's imperative that we understand what's happening in the stories and how we actually grasp these. They tell historical accounts with names and places and dates. There's protagonists and antagonists. We learn about their character and their personalities. And there's usually a dilemma that is discovered or encountered, and sometimes it's resolved and sometimes it's not. It's a lot like Aesop's fairy tales, Aesop's fables or Grimm's fairy tales, right? A lot of times there's this, it seems as though we would categorize them in the same context, that there's this like moral lesson to be learned. There's examples to follow and examples of who not to follow. But these stories are different. And it's fundamental that we understand the differences between the historical narrative biblically and these other stories. And in fact, even using the word stories kind of seems to lump it into that other category. So I'm going to try to using the word accounts or historical accounts or something to that effect to help us understand. So because first and foremost, they're historical. These things really happened. We have archaeological evidence to support it, some biblical and some unbiblical or non-biblical, extra-biblical sources that support the things that we read during this same time. Second, while these accounts are written and compiled by human authors with human intent, we believe that there's a divine author with a divine intent, a divine compiler of these stories, and a divine preserver of the details. Okay? This is an important one. God included these stories. We're talking about 1,000 years worth of history. There was a lot of stories, there's a lot of historical accounts that would have occurred during that time. These ones were selected. Why? We need to be understanding that there is an intentionality, there is a purpose from the author, from the editor and preserver, not just the human one, but also the divine one. Third, God is not only the author and compiler and preserver, but he's also the primary protagonist. Sometimes he's behind the curtains and we just kind of see the story and we don't really hear from him. Sometimes he makes his presence known, but we ought not to get caught up in just the protagonist, the name, the character in the Bible, and think that that's it. There is a larger protagonist, and that is God. And so in that sense, these are not biographies. They're autobiographies. It's God revealing not just the protagonist's character and personalities, but his character, his desires, his personality, what he's doing. You see, and this is a fundamental difference in that we should be understanding and learning who God is, not just about these characters in this account. We'll learn what he ordained, what he allowed to have happen, what he orchestrated, and we'll gain an understanding of who he is and what he's doing. And that's the essential perspective we need to maintain as we walk through these accounts. We're not just looking for moral lessons of right or wrong. We're not looking at examples of the human protagonist to be like and the antagonist to dislike. But who is God, and what is he doing? And why is he doing it?